Hey, welcome to the Amber May Show. There's a couple stories that I wanted to share with you today that I thought were really fascinating. First of all, an update on what happened in Michigan. So the court decided to not go any further with the case. And now I really think it's up to the people to get the legislature involved to audit. There was so much evidence that was brought forth before the judge, and he just didn't feel like it was his place to make a ruling on this. So I really encourage, if anybody in Michigan is listening to this, I encourage you to get with David Jose and figure out how you guys can do affidavits. And it only takes a few, like in let's see, Lumberjack Logic, he only had like what, 5 or 6 people and got things jumping in Minnesota. So it doesn't take very many people. Like We the People only took 5 people in Arizona. And I'd encourage you to contact We the People Alliance, Arizona Alliance, and see if they can build a chapter up in Michigan, because they're building chapters all over the United States. Before I get into what's happening in Oregon, this is interesting. I want to just let you know, hey, if you're interested in protecting you and your family should you get ill or injured and unable to work, that's actually the number one cause of why people go into foreclosure or bankruptcy, is because they become ill or injured, can't work, can't pay their bills. We don't want that to be you. So contact me. The link will be in the description, and see how we can protect you from that happening and you being able to keep a roof over your head, keep things flowing, keep things going, not have to worry about the stress of how am I going to pay the bills because I can't work. Also, with that built in is an amazing savings portion. Last year, our clients got 9%. The year before that, I think they got 12%. And so you can, life's curveballs happen. The refrigerator goes out, the air conditioning goes out, your kids need braces, the washing machine goes out. We don't all have that kind of cash just laying around. So we have a savings portion built into the whole thing, along with a death benefit should you have something tragic happen early. Your family will be taken care of. So check that out. The link is in the description. I was like kind of surprised by what I read last night. But so Michigan State needs to pursue this with the legislature. New Hampshire, I touched on that. They found one machine that kept flipping votes to the Democrat. So I don't know what's going on with that, but that was the latest I heard on that. But I need to read this to you. I really do. This is interesting. I found this on Epoch Times, and this is also under the Gateway Pundit. 5 rural counties in Oregon vote to leave state and become part of Idaho. Wow. How would that change what's happening in Washington, D.C.? It would change everything. So if this is going to happen, there's going to be a fight brought to them, because they will lose seats in both the Senate and the House, and they don't want to do that. So there's going to be a big fight for these counties to leave Oregon and join Idaho, and also part of, well, I'll read the article to you. A few months back, several counties in far-left Oregon began an effort to secede from the state and become part of Idaho. Now they have voted for it. It's not done. It's not a done deal yet, but they are off to a strong start. These are simply people who are tired of being associated with the radical left-wing politics of Portland. The Hill reports. Oregon counties vote to succeed to Idaho. Voters in 5 rural Oregon counties approved measures on Tuesday to consider joining the state of Idaho, a part of a long, short grassroots movement to break with the state dominated by liberal voters west of the Cascade Mountains. Voters in Malheur, Sherman, Grant, Baker, and Lake counties all approved measures that would require county officials to take steps to promote moving the Idaho border west to incorporate their populations. They joined 2 other rural counties, Jefferson and Union, whose voters approved measures promoting a move to Idaho last year. The local measures are backed by Move Oregon's Border for a Greater Idaho, a local organization that wants to go Idaho west and south in some counties in Northern California. And I was going to get to that. So a couple of counties in Northern California also want to be a part of this move. That would take some seats away from California. Bye-bye, Nancy Pelosi being Speaker of the House. This election proves that rural Oregon wants out of Oregon. And if Oregon really believes in liberal values such as self-determination, the legislature won't hold our counties captive against our will, said Mike McCarter, a conservative activist who heads the group. If we're allowed to vote for which government official we want, we should be allowed to vote for which government we want as well. Good point. Good point. And that's the end of that article. So there's no way this is not happening without a fight. I'm totally in agreement with this. I mean, Portland really dictates how they vote and where their votes go. And a lot of people in Oregon are not blue, they're red. And so they align better with Idaho. So I support the move. I just know this is going to upset the balance in DC. So this is not going to go down without a fight. So if there's anything we could do, that'd be super and awesome. And I applaud them for doing that. And also a lot of Northern California people are not blue, they're red. And they don't align with the LA people. And so I totally get why they also want to become a part of Idaho. So hopefully that moves forward. Wouldn't that change things? Wow. Another story is House Intel Republicans. This is a whole nother story. Under the leadership of Dr. Anthony Fauci, U.S. likely engaged in dangerous research in China. COVID-19 escaped Wuhan lab. This is also from the Gateway Pundit. Also, Dr. Kelly Ward on her Facebook page, I think it was on her page, Dr. Kelly Ward, it might have been under the Arizona Republican Party. But I read an article she posted and it broke down the two theories. It came directly from an animal versus it came from the lab. And it was a very lengthy article and it was very well done, very thought out. So there's these two theories going out right now. U.S. House of Representatives, led by Devon Nunes, released a report showing that the U.S. likely engaged in dangerous research in China and that China coronavirus 19 likely escaped from a Wuhan lab. And this is consistent with what we have been reporting for a year, according, this is Gateway Pundit. The Washington Times reported on the House Intelligence Committee, Republicans released a report on the coronavirus pandemic on Wednesday and pointing the fingers directly at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, arguing there is overwhelming circumstantial evidence supporting the hypothesis COVID-19 originated in the lab. So that phrase is very important. They do not have the concrete evidence yet. They have circumstantial evidence that supports that COVID-19 originated from a lab. And there's a copy, and I'll see if I can put that on in the description so you can read the report. The report states possible U.S. finding of gain of function research in China. Now, this is what gain of function means. It means that they took a virus that's found in nature and they made it like a super virus, so it's more contagious, more deadly, more harmful. Why this is a thing, to me, this is not Gateway Pundit speaking, this is me. I'm not a scientist, and I don't try to pretend that I am. And maybe this is my emotional speaking, but I just think it's awful to be screwing with something like that, like a virus. It hurt, obviously, COVID-19 hurt a lot of people. And the rules hurt a lot of people. And I talked about that. I talked about how the rules of COVID-19 stopped me from being able to hear my dad's voice for the very last time. It stopped me from seeing my best friend. And neither one of these two people were dying from COVID-19. I felt like all my rights were taken away from me. I had no choice. Mentally, I was going into a depression, being stuck at home. Like I'm on house arrest. Like I did something wrong. Not being able to see my friends for almost a year, forced to homeschool my children. Like no choices whatsoever. While the big businesses grew exponentially, it crushed the small business because government would not let small business be in operation. No. Anyways, I've talked about that before. Back to the report. The report states that possible U.S. funding of gain-of-function research in China under the leadership of Dr. Anthony Fauci, 19 between fiscal year 2014 and 2019, the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, NIAID, awarded more than $3.7 million in grants to EcoHealth Alliance to examine the risk of future coronavirus emergence in China. 20 EcoHealth Alliance also reportedly received funding from the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID. The president of EcoHealth Alliance, Dr. Peter Danzig, has been an outspoken opponent of the lab leak hypothesis since the outbreak of the pandemic in 22, or outbreak of the pandemic. I don't know, it says 22 there, but 22. Dr. Danzig was the only American scientist to participate in the WHO's 28-day investigation into the origins of COVID-19. Officials from both the Trump and Biden administrations have said that Chinese government worked for over a year to thwart an independent investigation into the origins of the virus. Let me read that again. Officials from both the Trump and Biden administration have said the Chinese government worked for over a year to thwart an independent investigation into the origins of the virus. Both administrations cast doubt on the manner in which a joint study from China and the World Health Organization was conducted earlier this year. Though the Wu China report said a jump from animals to human was most likely, numerous Trump officials have pointed to an accidental escape from the Wuhan lab and a highly plausible or most likely origin for the pandemic. I think they give them more credence than I would have. Accidental. I think that word to me just does not sit well. This is me speaking. Numerous Trump officials have pointed to an accidental escape from the Wuhan lab as highly plausible or most likely origin for the pandemic. Maybe it was accidental. They're giving them more credence than I would have. Led by a Republican, David Nuance, the ranking member of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, the 21-page Republican report in focus, COVID-19 and the Wuhan Institute of Virology laid out what the congressman saw as a case for considering a leak from a Wuhan lab. 1 year ago, we reported that Dr. Fauci likely broke the law when he funded COVID-related research in Wuhan. It appears that Fauci and Obama gave the Chinese lab millions for research into COVID. The question is, why? Why would they do that? We reported extensively on this subject, meaning the Gateway Pundit, for a year. Recently, we reported on one theory where China internationally attempted to infect U.S. military athletes visiting Wuhan in October 2019. We also know China's military was involved in research all the time. China is now targeting Lawrence Sellin, PhD, who has shared numerous pieces at the Gateway Pundit on this subject. The Republican House reports appears though the fair, but realistically, they have ways to go to catch up on our reporting on this matter. So there you have it. There you have it. So I just want to share a couple of those things that it's investigated. I like the fact that it's getting investigated, but it feels like no one ever pays the price for wrongdoings they do, doesn't it? So it's like, I want them to do it, but at the same time, I'm frustrated because it's not like any of them are going to see the light of day until they meet Jesus Christ. Meanwhile, they hurt a whole bunch of people and they killed a whole bunch of people. So hopefully counties in Oregon can defect to Idaho. And hopefully people who dealt with this COVID-19 will be brought to justice. We can only hope. And it's only if God will help us win that battle. Have a great day, guys.